The NFC North. Interesting division, a lot of stuff going on. I recorded this video a few days ago, and then when I went to watch it again, make sure everything was good, my mic was muted the whole time, so there was no audio, and I was just very upset. But we're back here, it's a new day, I have new found information. And we're just gonna talk about the NFC North and where I see them this year. And first off, we're gonna start off with the Detroit Lions. So we're gonna take a quick look at the roster here. I saw a post on Twitter talking about how this was the best offense in the NFL, and um, telling the audience to find a weakness or a hole in it. And that is very true. There aren't really any holes on this team, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for improvement. For example, Jared Goff, who is, in my opinion, is overrated. He's not bad by any means, and he's above average, but he's not like the quarterback that some people make him out to be. He's not like a Jalen Hurts tier quarterback. He's lower than Jalen Hurts on the tier list. As a matter of fact, I will make a tier list, and we will do tier lists as these videos progress. Um, 2024 quarterbacks. Here we are. Okay, there's already stuff in here. I did not put this stuff in here. There might be an easier way to do this. Delete row. So, where is Jared Goff? Jared Goff here, we're going to put in a B tier, and I'm going to name this B tier Game Managers. Because, in my opinion, that's what Jared Goff is. A game manager. He's not a guy that you're going to like develop your defensive game plan around stopping like you would a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts type of player. I mean, if you shut with those guys, if you shut down their wide receiver one, their wide receiver, all of their weapons, they will still find a way to make something happen. And with Jared Goff, I just don't think that's the case. You stop the weapons, you stop Jared Goff. He's not gonna, go and make a play when you. I mean, he can make plays, but he's not gonna go out there and win you the game like some of the better quarterbacks would. But we go down, this is a solid running back duo. Pretty good. Jahmyr Gibbs, very good rookie year. Back to quarterback. Hendon Hooker didn't play last year. Excited to see what he could do. I was quite fond of him in college at Tennessee. They had a very good team his senior year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, again, top 15 receiver. That's arguable, but I'd put him somewhere in that 12 to 15, maybe even 10 to 15 range. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who I didn't know was on the Lions. I'm not keeping up with every transaction. Last time I checked, he was on the Cleveland Browns. But I guess, he's here. Or maybe he did, because it has him. Was Donovan Peoples-Jones on the team last year? He was traded last year and only had 7 targets, so that's not my fault for not knowing he was there. I mean, they didn't do anything with him. But anyways, Jameson Williams, have really yet to see anything from him other than that huge play he had in the NFC Championship, he hasn't really done much of anything here. You know, these are good numbers for like a wide receiver 4, but not for a guy that you would take 12th overall and expect to be a cornerstone of your franchise. So, and there's a lot of hype around him, but I just don't really see it. He hasn't done anything to show me that he has been worth that pick. Khalif Raymond, the wide receiver 3, it's a fine wide receiver 3 to have. There's plenty worse. Tre'Quan Smith, the last memories I have of Tre'Quan Smith are him in New Orleans a few years ago. I don't know what he's been doing since then. Just floating around, I guess. He was on Denver last year. Appeared in a game. And had some decent numbers. A couple with the Saints. A couple seasons with the Saints. But he's in Detroit now. And as a wide receiver, deep on the depth chart, it's a solid player. Sam Laporta, I was very high on him coming out of college. Even surpassed my expectations of what I had of him in his rookie year. He is very good. And, yeah, but he's going to continue to be very good. Offensive line here, this is one of the best offensive lines of football. Penei Sewell is probably a top 5 tackle in the league. This left side here in the center, these are all probably like top 20. Ragnow is probably top like 5 center. But Decker and Glasgow probably like top 15 at their position. And Zeitler is pretty good too. The offense, pretty good offense. If I had to give it like a letter grade, I'd probably give this offense a A-. Because besides Amon-Ra, there's not really a ton of weapons here in the receiving core, but you do have Sam Laporta. Very good running back room. 2 pretty good running backs. A quarterback that'll get the job done, and then a top 5 offensive line. That's about an A on my rating scale. Go over to defense. Aiden Hutchinson. His numbers look a little better than he actually is. He's still good, but the numbers will lead you to believe that he is actually a lot better than he is. 11.5, 9.5 sacks. I mean, he's good. He is like Pro Bowl caliber, but 11.5 makes it seem like he's a little better than he actually is. I'd probably give him like a B to B plus edge rusher so far in his career. And then we go to the advanced stats in here. It doesn't show me like double team percentage, but was that double team? Okay. Anyway, Aiden Hutchinson, good player. Aleem McNeil last year really came out of nowhere and was maybe last year or the year before, but he really came out of nowhere and was a really important and integral part of that defense. DJ Reader is a guy who's pretty good. He'll get the job done. Same with Davenport. Jack Campbell. Didn't really hear much about him last year. I'm going to be honest with you. The Lions aren't a team I actively look into, but let's just check out how his season went. It went okay. These aren't great numbers you want from someone you took 18th overall. But he's, second year player. Hope, if all goes well, he gets better. And he's solid. Anzalone, solid. Derek Barnes is okay. He's not great. This is a good secondary on the surface. Not a ton of depth. Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold, not really going to speak much about him. Don't really have much to say. Rookie. I'm not going to say anything until I actually see him. play. But Carlton Davis is, above average. Emmanuel Mosley is okay. And Kindle Vildor was just kind of toast every time I was watching him. Every time I was watching them, the Lions. Amik Robinson, actually, when I was watching them, he was a guy that stuck out to me as someone who, when I was watching the Raiders, not the Lions. I watched the Raiders game last year. One Raiders game. It was the one against the Chargers where they blew him out. And he was doing his thing. So, Rakestraw, a guy that I was pretty high on in this draft. I mean, look at that. Rakestraw, Ennis Rakestraw. That's an NFL name, if I've ever seen one. Yeah, James Houston. Oh, I'm thinking of Justin Houston. I was like, no way. Yeah, James Houston was like in his second or third year. And then, fine. Special teams, Khalif Raymond's one of the better returners in the league. I'd probably give the defense like a B plus on the scale. Now we're gonna head into their record and where I see them. Week 1 against LA, a rematch of the playoffs. LA has lost Aaron Donald. I'll get more into that in the NFC West video. I just don't see a world where they're better this year than they were last year. So I'm going to give this to Detroit. Another playoff rematch. Again, I don't see, Baker Mayfield's going to, hopefully for them, be at the same quality he was last year, but the rest of the team, Mike Evans, is getting older by the day, as everyone is, but he is at the age where he's going to start declining as he ages. So I really don't have a reason to not pick the Lions in this one. The Cardinals, I just don't know how I feel about the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. I am a big Kyler fan. I do think Kyler Murray is very good. I think Kyler Murray is better than Jared Goff, but he just doesn't have a team around him that would make me say they're going to lose that game. Now, this is a game where they could lose. Now, I am a Seahawks fan, and I will be biased. The Seahawks have beaten the Lions now 3 years in a row. And, I think this is a game the Lions could lose. This is a game they could lose. Seattle is going to be very good next year. And, yeah, this is a losable game. It's also a winnable game. But I'm going to give it to my Seahawks. Now, against Dallas, in Dallas, coming off the bye. Again, Dallas is one of those teams. Everyone seems to just hate on Dallas, but they are a good team in the regular season. We haven't really seen much of them in the playoffs recently. But the regular season in Dallas, Trayvon Diggs is going to be back next year. And I think the Cowboys take this win. The Vikings are going to be a mess next year. I'm not a J.J. McCarthy fan. And if they're not using J.J. McCarthy, they're using Sam Darnold, and he's not exactly good either. Same thing with the Titans. Will Levis didn't show me a ton. He did have some fun plays. Like, let's just pull up his numbers. These are good, solid numbers. Touchdown interception ratio. Completion percentage isn't great, but for a third-round rookie quarterback, 84 passer rating on a team that wasn't really good anyway. you know, he hasn't given me really anything to worry about, but not anything also to be like, this kid's gonna be a star. I'm giving this one to the Lions. Now here's a tough one. The Packers. If we get the same Jordan Love that we got at the back end of last year and into the playoffs, they're going to be a scary team. And I don't think they'll beat the Lions twice, but I definitely think they could beat them once. And we're in Lambeau, and I think this is that one time. They play 2 games. I think the Packers will win at least one of them, and the one in Lambeau is the one that I'm going to say they're going to win. So against the Texans, again, Texans, C.J. Stroud had an incredible rookie year. They've only gotten better. DeMeco Ryans was great in his first year as a head coach. Stephon Diggs coming in, he's not the player he once was, but he can still be a contributor. And so I'm going to give this one to Houston in Houston. Now coming off 2 losses, they get to go back home. And Jaguars are coming in. They're just kind of a mess too. You brought in Brian Thomas, right? They brought in someone. Brian Thomas, he either went to the Colts or he went to the Jaguars, and I always mix him up. He did go to the Jaguars. I knew he went to one of those teams, but Calvin Ridley's gone. There's a joke on Twitter right now. I can't believe Calvin Ridley didn't catch this, and it's just a play of Trevor Lawrence just making a horrible play. And I still have a lot of hope in Trevor Lawrence, but he hasn't done anything with his potential right now. He's made some great throws. He led that big comeback in the playoffs 2 years ago. But I'm going to have to give this one to the Lions. Again, the Colts, Anthony Richardson is probably my favorite non-Seahawks player in the league. Besides players who aren't former Seahawks either. I've been an Anthony Richardson fan since his sophomore season at Florida. First time I heard of him. I mean, all these links are blue because I did the same thing in the last video that I recorded with my mic off. I went to this and I was talking about how first time I heard of Anthony Richardson was this game right here against South Florida. He had a 75-yard touchdown pass, a 41-yard touchdown pass, and an 80-yard run as the backup quarterback. He threw 3 passes, completed all of them, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was all over Twitter that day. I tweeted about him. I'm pretty sure I deleted the tweets, but I promise you I did tweet them. Timmy McClain was here. Timmy McClain made that crazy play against Baylor, I think it was, to keep the game alive. And, these are just monster numbers. So I've been an Anthony Richardson fan ever since that. And I think as long as he stays healthy, the Colts are going to be a problem. And I'm going to give this game to the Indianapolis Colts. Next, week after that, back at home, Bears. The Bears have created a very good situation for Caleb Williams. There's a rookie quarterback, but it's a rookie quarterback. A lot of first-year guys. And Shane Waldron, who isn't a great offensive coordinator, but he will suffice for a rookie. I'll get more into that in the Bears episode. But this one is I think is a Lions win. We talked about it earlier. I think they'll split the series with Green Bay. And then 2 wins. And the Bills, they've only gotten worse. And I think the Lions will take that one as well. And I'll talk more about the Bills when we get to them. Same thing with the Bears. We're in Chicago this time, but I think the Lions are just too good. NFC Championship rematch. I'm taking the 49ers in this one. I mean, Ayuk is most likely gone, but they still have an incredible team. And then I'm going to take the Lions for the same reasons I took them earlier against the Vikings. That's going to bring them to 11-6 on the season, which, believe it or not, it leads the division so far. Just my thoughts on this year's Detroit Lions team, and I'll probably record the Chicago Bears episode after this one. So if you like this one, pop over to that one, or you can just watch your favorite team. These were just my thoughts on the Detroit Lions. See ya.